Good morning, you strange and wonderful weirdos. I'm John.
I'm Stacey.
It's Friday, thank God, November 18th. And here's why today is strange.
All right, so let's start off with a UFO sighting today.
Yay!
Yes, so this is from Bradenton Beach. And this is a picture that was taken by a police officer. Now, Bradenton Beach police officer Charles Morose was on patrol at Coquina Beach on November 5th. And he happened to look up and see a Coast Guard plane flying over the bay. So what he said was, I saw a Coast Guard plane flying over the bay and I watched them turn back toward the Gulf. I thought, what the heck is that, as I look up and saw a big black thing in the sky. Now he's estimating that based on the size of the plane, that this black thing was the size of at least a car or a small plane. And it was sort of just hovering there. Now, he assumed that the Coast Guard plane saw the object because it turned around and started following it. And about the time that that plane turned around and started going towards the object, it took off. He said it just shot off like a rocket toward the horizon, and it was just gone.
Wow.
Just completely gone.
Gone.
Now, he said that he has no idea what was in the air, and but he could say with certainty that it was not a drone, and it was not an animal, that he is in that area daily. He patrols that area.
I'm glad it wasn't an animal.
Yeah, because that would have been terrible, as big as it was.
It's a damn cow. I think it's high.
And he says he did get the picture, and he said that whatever it is just a mystery. So this story was run in the Sun, and the Sun reached out to the Cortez Coast Guard detachment, which would have been who was flying the plane at this unidentified object.
We don't have any cocaine.
And when they sent the inquiry, they forwarded it to their public relations department, who called multiple different departments and shuffled it around.
It's a good department.
And eventually they claimed that there was no incident reported in that area at that date or time, and they had no information of it whatsoever. So I don't know. Very strange.
Well, maybe the Coast Guard didn't report it.
Maybe not, but aren't they required to, if they change their flight plan, to say, hey, I'm going to change my flight plan?
I mean, maybe it's like every other business outside of Chick-fil-A. You know? I don't know. Maybe they don't, they got people that are not that good at what they do and flying around. I don't know. It's the Coast Guard, right? So They're probably doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is hide the truth from us.
It's just a really weird, it's a picture. It's there. It's from a police officer.
Are you a member of the Coast Guard?
Who knows the area.
Would you hide a UAP sighting? If so, let us know. You can use our anonymous tip line at John and Stacey Edwards at gmail.com. We will not look at your email. Promise.
We'll hold our finger over it.
Yeah, every time. That's how we open it. We have a little place marked off on our computer. And that's how, yep, it's anonymous.
Completely anonymous.
Not going to look.
I have no idea.
Any tips? Anything you could tell us that you would not tell one of those, hopped up, rackety-dickety podcasts that don't matter.
Right.
Like that schmogan thing. We're the ones you want to know. I mean, tell us. It gets it off your chest, right? We're a growing podcast. We're a growing video show. We do both.
Hey, if you have any pictures of UFOs,
absolutely
send them to todayisstrange@gmail.com.
That would work too.
That would be good.
Either way, we go anonymous. If you send it to one of these big operations, one of this big pod, there's a conspiracy.
They're going to go and give credit, aren't they?
But they might even pay you.
We wouldn't want that to happen.
You give it to us, it's guaranteed that hardly anyone is going to see it.
And they won't know it was you.
You can go into virtual obscurity, get it off your chest, and yet be safe because it's out there. Nobody's going to see it for a while. Every now and then.
All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about a very strange item that was found under the floorboards of a house.
Well, that could be so many things.
It could be anything. So
especially if you live there.
A woman named Eileen Simpson. She's from Edinburgh.
Eiley from Edinburgh.
She was stunned when her plumber that was hired to move a radiator told her that he had uncovered an old whiskey bottle containing a rolled up piece of paper that was underneath her floorboards.
Yeah, it fell out of his puck crack.
No, and he was actually really surprised because they were moving the radiator and he basically cut one hole in the floor. And there it was. It was like the exact spot that he opened the floor.
What you talking about?
Was this old bottle?
That's
now
crazy.
The house is really old, so
unless there's like 1,000 bottles, and he just like
they just happened to find the one. Now, when he brought it to her, she has 2 children, and she didn't want to open it until the kids were home and her partner was home. So once the whole family got together, they tried to get the message out of the bottle. They did end up having to break the bottle to get it. And what they found
that's sort of
inside
implied when you put a message in a bottle
was a note that read, "James Ritchie and John Grieve laid this floor, but they did not drink the whiskey. October 6th, 1887. And it said, "Whoever finds this bottle may think our dust is blowing along the road." So the people that laid the floor in there in 1887 left the message for whoever would find it.
That's really cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
So she said that they're probably going to preserve the note, but maybe put a different bottle in the floor with the new message.
You know what I want to do?
What's that?
I want to get a bottle and put a note in it and make sure there's no way in Hades that you can get the note out without breaking the bottle.
Right.
And when they get the note out, because they broke the bottle, I want the note to say, "I am so glad you found this. Whatever you do, do not hurt, chip, scratch, or break this priceless bottle. It's your lucky day, our gift to you."
Yeah, it's worth, and then put like an astronomical number. Wow. See, and you think I'm the mean one.
That's comedy. That's not putting some
whatever you do, don't break
witch hex curse in a closet and saying it'll be funny when they find it after we move.
Don't break
Not
this.
that she's ever done that.
If you break this bottle, you'll release the demon into your home or something like that.
Not that she's ever got a B&B and with me and like, so, hey, you know what we should do? Let's put the hex bag under the couch. Let's go buy a red light at Costco and just put it up in that vent.
Good times.
This one here, she's a barrel of laughs.
Very nice.
You are very nice.
All right, let's move on. So let's talk about a story. Now, we talked about this story months ago, I believe, on our other show.
That other show. And
it is about the Yellowstone National Park. They found part of a foot floating in a shoe in the Abyss Pool that's located in the West Thumb Geyser Basin.
Don't get you have much of a chance if you following one named Abyss, do you?
So now this happened.
Couldn't have fell in like ankle deep pool.
Earlier this year.
Lukewarm pool.
It was, they believe it was on August 16th of this year, an employee found part of a foot in a shoe floating in the Abyss Pool. And the investigation, they claim that it suggests that the incident involved one individual, likely, no foul play, unwitnessed, and they're going to close the investigation now that they figured out who the foot belongs to. They say it belongs to a 70-year-old man from Los Angeles named Il-Hun Rowe. They did notify his family, and that's it. They said they have no further information. Now, I think this is still pretty mysterious because they have no idea what actually happened.
Yeah.
And they did claim that it was an unwitnessed incident.
Right.
But they believe that it is just the one individual and that there was no foul play. I don't know. I mean, it's a hot spring. It gets up to like 140 degrees, but that's not enough to disintegrate an entire body except for the foot, right?
After a few minutes, probably. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
isn't it strange?
Was there any like really big grapes near there? I mean,
no, it was just part of a foot.
So where do they row from here?
They just closed it. Oh, that was awful.
I didn't.
That was bad.
No,
I didn't catch it until it was too late.
I was just asking. I didn't say, or at least they put a.
Do stress to visitors not get off the trails at the Yellowstone National Park. It is a volcano, and those are hot springs. Do you think it's like a Dante's Peak thing? With like the acid and stuff.
Every time we see a big mountain, a pointy hill. Anytime there's anything odd with birds when we're going up a mountain, she talks about that damn movie.
It's just so funny.
We've been together since that movie came out, and you have no idea how many times.
It just comes up so often.
How many times? Oh, that's kind of like Dante's Peak, isn't it? Almost romanticizing the fact that
I just think it's funny.
if Mount St. Helens-esque event ever happens again in the States.
Look, there's so many things in that movie that you could allude to for different things. I mean, there's a volcano, there was the hot springs, the woman got all acidified in the water, the guy fell over the bridge, got swept away. I mean, how many situations can you point to that movie for? A lot.
Good old Nan should have left the hill.
I had to do it just to get on your nerves now.
I can see the movie. Like late 90s disaster movies or really cheesy, horrible cheesy action movies. This is your girl, right?
Christmas movies.
This is her. I don't even want to get into that.
Rom-coms. Love the rom-coms.
Yeah, but yeah.
Big, blockbuster movies.
How many times do you watch A Knight's Tale? How many times?
I mean, I don't...
Like, hundreds?
I don't know.
Hundreds?
Maybe. You can see Paul Bettany's butt.
Ever After?
I have seen that one quite a lot.
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice. How many times have you watched that one? Okay, so let's move on. Every version of it. Okay, so this is from China.
I wanted to see how the actors did. It's a classic. It's
Right.
not like Speed.
Right.
It's a classic. It's a novel. It's an American classic.
It is. It is. You're right.
So different actors, it's like all the different versions of Sherlock Holmes I've watched and
That's true.
listened to. And
That's true. I can't make fun of the Sherlock Holmes. I love that.
Moving on.
Moving on from China. So this is a mysterious patterns that officials say are old fish traps, but they're on the bottom of a drying lake bed, and there are conspiracy theories going crazy online now. So there's a lake called Dongting Lake in Hunan, central China, and about 70% of the water has disappeared because of intense drought. It's a 2,800 square kilometer
Is the
freshwater
drought
lake.
worldwide like that? Like,
Well, it's in central China apparently right
every
now.
river I go by seems like empty.
Now, it's exposed several square-shaped patterns on the lake bed that look sort of like giant mazes. They're very unusual, and they have no idea, like there's not any kind of construction down there or anything. It's just the imprint on the lake bed. They are the size of football fields. They're huge.
What an ingenious fish trap.
It is very strange. Now,
They
the
just
way...
get confused and like get tired out after a while?
No, it's not a maze like that.
Oh.
They put the food, no. The officials...
tired now. Spear!
The officials claim that there used to be fish traps in that lake. The way they did it, they used short fences, and the lake was fed by the Yangtze River. So as the river would bring water in, the water would rise, the fish would swim over the traps, and then the Yangtze River would make the water flow out, and the water would go down, and then the fish would be caught inside the fences. That's supposedly. Now, these particular fish traps, I believe they cracked down on illegal fishing, and they were all dismantled in 2018. So now, 2022, the water's drying out, and there are these very odd patterns on the floor of the bed.
How old is Big Dong Lake?
I do not know. They do claim that area has always been underwater. Like, it's not, because some people were like, well, maybe there used to be a structure there, and the officials are like, no, that's always been underwater. I don't know how they know that.
Well, it's China.
They're not very forthcoming with all the information,
it's
you know?
China. There's damn pyramids in China.
It's just
you hear about that much? No.
The problem is there are some shaped structures, but there's also some round ones, and there's also different shaped ones. They're not all the same. So even if it was
civilization, maybe
fish traps, they wouldn't be
the
same fish. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of different things.
Like a new model.
But it's very strange. Like, I've never seen anything like it, and apparently nobody else has ever seen.
No, I'm very curious. I'm also curious about like building a maze for a fish trap. I mean, that's
so strange.
You could watch it on the sonar and like
that would be cool. Take bets on it.
Yeah.
See if they make it in there.
Should have seen what was in my head when you started that story.
I'm sorry. Wow. It was a little discombobulated there. Okay. All right. So let's move on. All right, so let's talk about this new company called Space perspective.
Sounds familiar.
They are starting a business where you can ride a balloon into space from a floating spaceport. Yeah, something like that. So it's a specialized capsule that they've made. It's sort of rounded with a pointed bottom. It has 360-degree views. And the purpose of the capsule is it holds 8 people, and they put it on a ship out in sea that is a mobile spaceport launch. They inflate a football stadium-sized balloon that lifts you up into the edge of space. It takes 6 hours. You rise. You spend 2 hours at the edge of space there, looking at the Earth and seeing the views of the stars. And then it lands, splashes back down in the water where the ship comes and picks you up. Yes.
Oh, hell no.
Well, they have acquired their first shipping vessel from Los Angeles shipbuilder Edison Chuest.
Are they sending all of their mother-in-laws on an expense-paid trip?
No, believe it or not, the tickets are $125,000. They're going to start flights in 2024, and all of their 2024 flights are already sold out.
Are they?
They are. You only have to put down $1,000 down payment and just pay the rest later.
People are insane.
Isn't it? So they dubbed the first shipping vessel the MS Voyager, in honor of the Voyager 1 spacecraft, I suppose. And they say it's going to be an amazing experience. I don't know. I don't think I could trust
Maybe
flying.
they named it after that really cool, obscure, syndicated 1980s TV show. You remember that? Voyagers?
No.
They had the little gold timepiece.
Wow.
And it was like an old pocket watch, and they would open it up and they could travel to...
I do not remember that show.
It's such a good show. It's a really good show.
Wow.
If you watched it, you would name a space balloon after it. I'm just saying.
So they are calling it a marine spaceport for their luxury human space flights aboard their Space Neptune capsules. I don't know. That's not the information I want to know. The information I want to know is what happens if the balloon pops. What are the fail-safes when you're up in space if your balloon gives away?
Well, you're dead.
Is there like a parachute or something on that thing?
You're not going to sue.
Of course you're not.
In fact, they could probably get you to sign something while up there. Because if they did the escape vessel just right.
Right.
Like this little tube, it's big enough for about 5.
First 5 to sign this paper.
Everybody sign this, and we're going to draw a lottery.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you just written a new movie, I think.
Just saying.
Yeah, okay.
We're about the company.
$125,000. Wow. I mean, as far as spaceflight, it's pretty reasonable.
I mean, that's an expensive edging.
It is. All right, so let's go on and let's talk about the Watcher House. Do you remember the Watcher House in New Jersey?
The Watcher House?
Yes, the Watcher House.
Do you remember the Watcher House? The one on Drury Lane.
Oh, wow. So this is a house that back in 2014, some people moved in and supposedly they started receiving letters from a man calling himself the Watcher. It was very creepy. He would send them letters, tell them all about their family and what was happening, their kids, everything. It was very creepy.
We did this story as soon as it originally broke, way before Netflix was doing anything with it.
Now, eventually the family sold the house in 2019 and they sold the rights to the movie to Netflix, who made a series out of it that just came out this past October.
Yep.
Now, the people that bought the house in 2019 claim that the letters stopped arriving. Like they didn't get any more letters from the Watcher.
Did the people that moved get any more?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Now, it
Signed,
turns out that
The Wanderer.
Fox News has The Wanderer. It's not the Watcher anymore. Now they're wandering.
Right.
Fox News has obtained some audio from a 911 call where someone, either them or someone in the neighborhood, has called and asked for police cars because people will not stop going to the house. Like 24 hours a day, fans of the show want to see the house.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody knows where it is.
I mean, we've
So they
seen
just
this happen
go
before,
and
though.
get on the lawn and get on the porch and take pictures. And
When our friends first purchased the Conjuring house, before Ghost Adventures came up there and even did an episode, so no one had actually filmed it yet.
Right.
But when Corey and Jen first got the house, we went up there, and it's awesome to walk through it. It was really cool. But while we were there, we heard cars.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, is somebody else, showing up? This is way out of the way.
Right.
You got to kind of know where you're going to go.
Right.
And they're like, no, there's a It happens all the time.
Yeah, people
And,
just walk up the
they had
driveway.
to put security cameras in. I think they had to get even more, vicious with it.
I mean, it wasn't even on the road. You had to go up the driveway.
Yeah, it happened all the time, 24 hours a day. They had to warn people about it because if you were trying to stay there, you had to watch because so many people wanted a glimpse.
There's even an article out now where the Goonies house is for sale in Astoria, Oregon.
You kidding me?
No, for $1.65 million.
I love the Goonies house.
It's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's beautiful. But the lady that owns it is selling it because she just can't. It's too much. The people are too much. She said that she used to do tours and stuff, and people would tear off pieces of the wallpaper to take before she remodeled it. She ended up remodeling the whole thing. But still people come and try to see the house and get pictures. And
I bet that's like the storybook house in LA, I say it's hard to get people not to try to.
Isn't that awful? I mean, you would think you would love to own a piece of history like that and live there, but oh gosh, it must be so annoying.
Yeah.
Don't do that, people. Don't just randomly go to people's houses. And I swear we never went by Stephen King's house when we lived in Maine.
Never.
We didn't stalk it.
No.
We actually were very nice. We didn't even take pictures. We just drove by and looked at it. Okay, so let's talk about this marathon runner, 50-year-old runner that finished in 574th place. But he is a chain smoker, and he chain smoked the entire marathon. His name is Chen Bangjin. This is from China. They call him Uncle Chen. And Uncle Chen finished.
His name's Chen Bangjin.
Bangjin. I can't really say Chinese names very well.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, that's what it
kind
of looks like.
I would have to find a wife named Jen.
Uncle Chen.
Chen Bing's Jen.
He finished it in 3 hours and 28 minutes, which is actually better than the average for marathon runners, but chain smoked the whole time he was running the race. That's like his thing. I don't know why he does that.
How did he finish with such a good average, but
574th? Just a better average than marathon runners in general, like not just this race, like just for doing that length of a marathon, that's a better than average time.
Oh, well.
I mean, there's 1,500 people in this race.
It didn't say where he smoked from.
This is true. There are pictures of him smoking. There were 1,500 people in this race, so almost 1,000 people finished behind the guy chain smoking.
It's China. That's a small get together.
But very interesting. I feel really bad. If I was running this marathon, I'd be stuck right behind that guy smoking the whole time.
Absolutely.
Because that would be my luck.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, that's interesting. Good for you. Good for you and your bad lungs.
There was so much disbelief over the fact that he did this that the marathon people actually posted his finishing certificate online so that people could see that he really did finish the race.
And then it was all just forgot about because of the mystery at Dong Lake. China was active.
Fish mazes.
Yeah,
the fish
man.
Mazes.
The fish mazes. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what? Let me tell you how strange today is. The Taylor Swift crap, right? Mm-hmm. The Ticketmaster stuff. That's just insanity.
It is. You can have a Taylor Swift ticket for $95,000.
So I've been
in the nosebleeds.
I've been a Pearl Jam fan since the first time I ever heard anything they did. Right now, I'm one of those weird Pearl Jam fans that listens to like every live show you possibly can, all the bootlegs, and I'm here to tell you, they told everyone like back in '95, right? Pearl Jam went against Ticketmaster. They fought them for a good 18 months and testified, against them, and nothing came of it. They said they're a monopoly. It's bad. They tried going against them, and they had to bow down and use them because you couldn't run shows because of their agreements, Ticketmaster's agreements with all of the arenas. So you couldn't, play at the arenas unless you went through Ticketmaster. Right. Ticketmaster a couple of years ago did the merge with Live Nation. Mm-hmm. And, that furthered the monopoly. Yeah. So, even we go to a lot of live events, and we get on, Stacey will be on there with a pre-sale code an hour before. As soon as you can be on there, she'll be on there. She's been in the top 10 of the queue before, and it'll come on, and I'm the front row guy. I don't want to go unless I'm front row, if possible. Not snooty. It's just I've got some short family members, and it's hard for them.
Well, if you're going to spend the money.
Yeah, I want to just enjoy it, right? So it's usually just the difference in $50 a ticket or something.
Right,
and, But when we go, she'll be like, honey, there's no front row, but we can go over to StubHub and
somebody's got a whole row.
The whole arena will be available, right? You can see 6 tickets on the front row, except they're about 500-600 more or 1,000 more. It's time somebody does something. It really is, especially for fans of different artists, different events, different wrestling, different boxing, fighting, whatever you're into, football. It would be nice to be rewarded for being a hell of a fan, paying for the extra pre-sale code. I'm for all that. That's cool. But when you do that, you should get that reward. These bots and all this stuff that's allowed into these things. Yeah, this is a rant. Sorry, I can't be real funny about it because it's ridiculous and it's time to stop. Did you see how much some of those tickets are going for? $95,000. And the whole arena is in the red.
That's not even a good seat.
Yeah, the whole arena was in the red where you could buy the tickets. And these, as they term themselves, Swifties, they paid or fan club or however they did it. They were supposed to be the ones who got the pre-sale tickets, right? They were allotted so many tickets for the fans.
Right.
That's terrible. Because if that's what you're waiting for and you really, want it and you've done the business to be there and you can't go, that sucks, man. It really does. So there you go. There's my rant for the day. I hope you guys had a good one, and we will see you after the weekend. So enjoy your weekend. Turkey week's coming up. Today is so strange.